Sente, tall and precious trees, my Africa. Care for them for years, mahogany and ebony. I care for them. Just leave it to me. I'll be your superhero.
I might be small today, but
I'll stand up for it tomorrow.
I might be small today, but
a wizard. Oh, I wish I were my Africa, for us all to share. This land belongs to us all, humans and wildlife after all. I'll be your superhero.
I might be small today, but
I'll stand up for it tomorrow.
I might be small today, but
Hello there. Just planning a little research trip up north. Glorious thing about this country, so many wonderful places to visit. But I got a bit of a shock from my Uncle Wally. That's him in the picture. We all look a bit alike. I suppose to you all warthogs look alike. It seems like I'll have to hold my research trip back until after the rains. Uncle Wally says there's no grass left up there. Nothing for a warthog to nibble on at all. In fact, he's worried if the grass will ever grow again. It's actually not been a bad season for rain. It's the cattle, you see. They've grazed the place flat. Oh, for centuries we've shared the grass with our zebu brothers, but they took off the taller, coarser grass. We just focus on the new shoots down at the base. This would help strengthen the roots, you know. But when cattle no longer move around but stay in one place, they eat right down to the roots. And add herds of goats and they will even eat the roots. This is called overgrazing. So today I will have to come up with a story about overgrazing. Very difficult subject. It'll require brave changes. No quick fix to overgrazing. A long, hard road to recovery for the grasslands. So this story is about a brave young boy called Issa. Issa had to look after his father's cows and goats after school. These were just the milk cows that had been kept behind. The main herd was up in the hills with his older brother Mika. Even these cows had dried up, giving little milk as the grazing was so bad around the shamp. And also, up in the hills, he knew his brother would be battling to find grass. There were so many herds of cattle and goats now. Issa loved his schoolwork. He often came first in his class. He loved figures especially. It was fun playing with numbers. Issa's father looked out at the sad little herd of cows as they came in. He was getting so little out of them. He needed more cows, he thought. And to this man, wealth meant more cows. Issa's family had been herding cattle for centuries, moving with the rains, great circular journeys across the grasslands. He had a lot of healthy cattle back then. But things were changing with schools and shops and tourism. It was all changing. Sometimes Father would count the returning cattle to make sure Issa had brought back all his precious cattle. Today, Issa had done a good job bringing all the cattle back. What a surprise! The next morning, Issa's uncle Yono arrived. He'd lived in the shamba next to his brothers, but 2 years ago, he had sold most of his cattle and moved to an area where there was more water. Although the farms there were small, he must be doing well. He'd brought Issa a soda, and he'd brought a book and a pencil. Yono had brought more important gifts for the family: grass for the cows. That night, the brothers talked for hours round the fire. Issa was told to go to sleep. After all, he had school in the morning. Uncle Yono was telling Father to move out of this area to the new land. Things will get better for them there. Father does not want to leave. The two brothers were arguing. This worried the boy. His father also said soon Issa would have to leave school and help his older brother Mika with the main herd. Issa is sad his father is so stubborn. But his family have lived here for centuries. All his ancestors are buried out there near the cattle bar. He knows his father will never leave. But he also knows that the grass has gone. Nothing but thorn trees will live here. The soil is ruined. Later, the school holidays had started. These were always fun for Issa's brother and sister. He'd teach them many things like building roads and bridges. His father was very tense about the wasting of any water, though. Uncle Yono had always enjoyed the bright conversation of his brother's son. He had sent a bush taxi to fetch Issa so that he could spend some time on his farm, a full day's ride away.
Issa, na mgeni nakuja, nenda kafungue mlango wa geti.